trying to make it all make sense.
The
More.
You
No.
Podcast.
I thought it was really interesting the points they brought up surrounding Batman and how he's empowered by the dark side to do good things. And it even brought up the story of like how there's like another kid whose parents were killed.
The War Crimes comic. Yeah, that one's a really famous one because of how much it brings out his character, showing that exact point. Even though he is a good guy and does his best for good things, it's because he recognizes the darkness that he uses for good.
Could you share that story into detail?
They basically explained it for the most part. It was that, I forget which villain it was. I think it was probably Joker, because Joker is the one who usually kills a lot of people. Batman ended up finding this orphan kid, and it kind of gave him a slight bit of, like, PTSD type deal, since he's been there before. And he basically spent time with the kid to explain that, like, even though life is going to be hard, it's going to make you a stronger person in the end of it all. You'll either turn into somebody like Joker or you'll turn into somebody like Batman, depending on which path you go down and how strong of an individual you are. And it's up to you to choose which path you want to go down.
So it's really empowering understanding something that's a hardship, because you can understand it and then do what's right.
Yes, it's understanding oneself, flaws and all, and getting past them to make yourself a better person.
I love that. I also love the other aspect that they're talking about with Batman, where it's surrounded how you embrace fear and you embrace hardship and struggle and things that you don't want to do and things that are tough, because you know that's where the greatest aspects and greatest fulfillment in life will come from.
Yeah, that's the main reason a lot of people like Batman the most, as like probably as the best DC hero, is because both him as a character and the villains, all of the villains can represent aspect of Batman himself in their own way. Joker is basically the opposite of Batman in their ways of dealing with something. Batman is even though what he does, his vigilante justice is kind of chaotic, he does it for good. Joker does his chaoticness for evil. Scarecrow is probably the best example because he's one who also uses fear in his own way, but he uses it to get what he wants, while Batman uses fear to save people.
They both embrace it for power, but one's to empower for good and the other one's to use for power over other people.
Yes.
That's fascinating.
And then, like, there's ones like Mr. Freeze who are sympathetic villains because he's not a villain because he wants to be. He's a villain because he has to be. His whole ordeal is that his wife is dying of an incurable disease, and so he cryogenically freezes her until he can figure out a cure. But due to the tyrannical company he was working with, they were going to pull the plug on her, and because of them trying to, he got caught in a chemical explosion that makes it so room temperature for us is like being on the sun for him. It boils the blood in his skin, so he has to stay in freezer room temperatures for the rest of his life. And the only way he can do that is in his special suit that takes things like diamonds to actually power. So he basically has to steal diamonds and expensive equipment just because he needs to live. He doesn't want to have to do this. He's just a husband trying to save his wife, and the world just is unfair. And so a lot of people like Mr. Freeze because of how sympathetic of a character he is.
you can empathize with him.
Yeah, you realize he's not like Joker, where Joker just kills people because he wants to kill people. Mr. Freeze steals and does bad things because he has no other choice. It's that, or he dies, and in turn his wife dies, and he'd rather do his best to keep his wife alive in this world and find a cure, even if in the end he would, after all of this, he would just be arrested and imprisoned for the rest of his life.
That's interesting.
I hope this talk makes a positive impact in your life. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening or watching it, check out other episodes, leave a review, and follow us on social media at More You Know Pod. Also, please don't forget about our sweepstakes. Retweet a clip with the hashtag #TheMoreYouKnow and new podcast from our Twitter for a chance to win a signed copy of my upcoming book, The More You Know, coming this fall. Tag 2 friends in the comments on a clip on Instagram for a chance to win a brand new copy of Dean Graziosi's Millionaire Mindset or Ed Milet's Max Out. Like us or share a clip on Facebook for a chance to win a book I have read that highly inspired me, signed by me with an inspirational message. Again, thank you for listening as we propel with podcasting through the more you know.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
The More You Know Podcast.